buong parte na ng Asia, di ba?
Oo. Astig nga eh, kasi nagulat ako, like, wala akong masyadong naririnig na nag-ML sa Hong Kong, tapos biglang kasali sila dito, diba? So, this gives you a lot more to expect pagdating sa mga susunod na Asian Games. Kasi again, for everybody's context, ito yung pinakaunang beses na nagkaroon tayo ng MLBB event sa Asian Games, diba? Usually sa SEA Games lang, since 2019, nandun tayo. Pero para sa Asian Games, this gives a brand new avenue para sa Pilipinas na mas i-enforce palalo yung lakas nila, pero at the same time, para din sa ibang bansa na makahabol dun sa competition at makita nila na, ganito pala yung pinaglalabanan dito. So, in the future, sa ibang tournament, makita na natin sila.
First time to baka kasi maraming nalilito dyan kung ano yung Asian Games, yung SEA Games, yung SEA Ball. Magkakaiba po yung mga yan, okay? Pero ang importante ay nandito tayo ngayon sa Asian Games. First time nga ito, nabanggit nga ni Hans, and first time natin makikita muli ang Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Sa mga hindi nakakakilala, ito po ang Falcons Esports, di ba?
Yan, Team Falcons, matik na matik yan. Kung nanonood po kayo ng MPL MENA, yan po ay pinangungunahan ni Kafin, Sanji, Sano. Malamang sa alamang, pamilyar na po kayo sa mga pangalan
Tarzan. Si Tarzan.
Diba? Tingnan mo naman yung nasa likod, pre. Si Coach Lyric, yan po ay isa sa ating mga Filipino imports na nagbibigay ng kanyang serbisyo para dito sa kupunan na ito. And it's nice to see na, after all these years, parte pa rin siya ng Middle Eastern MLBBC. So,
balita.
Are fated to wither. Then I'll enshrine your most brilliant moment in crimson splendor. Even something so crude can be graced with a splatter of beauty. I'll get you out! You finally come to me, Hanabi-sama!
This madness ends now!
mean Hanabi-sama finally understands Hinata?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 2026 Asian Games Esports events, MLBB, or rather Mobile Legends Bang Bang Qualifiers. Today marks a historic chapter in both esports and Mobile Legends history. As Mobile Legends Bang Bang celebrates its 10th year anniversary, the title reaches yet another incredible milestone, taking its place as an official medal event at the Asian Games, one of the most prestigious sporting competitions in the world.
What began as a game enjoyed by millions across Asia has evolved into a global phenomenon and now stands alongside traditional sports on the contingent's biggest stage. But this tournament is far more than competition.
Across the regions, the finest players have answered the call to represent their home. They arrive here carrying out only their own ambitions, but also the hopes and expectations of their nations. For these athletes, the journey takes on a whole new meaning.
Yeah, they are no longer competing solely for their organizations, their teammates, or for personal accolades. They're competing for the opportunity to wear their national colors and stand amongst Asia's elites at the Nagoya 2026 Asian Games.
At this point, every draft matters.
Every objective matters.
Every victory brings them one step closer to making history.
Yet before the medals, before the opening ceremony, and before the world turns its eyes to Nagoya, the road begins here. The path to 2026 Asian Games starts with qualification.
The participating nations have now been drawn into 4 groups where they will battle through a demanding series, very demanding in fact, of matches for the chance to advance. However, only the strongest team will continue their journey and keep their Asian Games dream alive.
So, how does the road to Nagoya look? Let's take a closer look today as what it will take for these teams to earn their place on Asia's biggest esports stage. As I'm your caster Momad, joined with me is Abstract. As we head on to today's games, we have match 1. It's going to be Team Saudi Arabia versus Team Oman. Next up, we're going to have Team Iran versus Team Oman as well. And last up, for match number 3, Team Sri Lanka for Team Pakistan. But stay tuned, we have more. We have more.
As now we have for match number 4, we have Team Kazakhstan versus Team Tajikistan. Match number 5 with Team Indonesia versus Team Laos.
Yeah, these groups look extremely scary as we go on as well. We have the headliners for the day, Team Malaysia versus Team Philippines, and also Team Indonesia going up against Team Vietnam. The best of the best are gathered here in Resorts World Sentosa right now, and we're ready to watch a lot of good Mobile Legends Bang Bang.
That is right. We have a total of 7 full best of 3 games that will be drafted today, and that is what we mean by demanding series of matches. As such, we do have different teams that has been separated in different groupings. As such, take a look at Group A. These are the teams involved with Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Singapore, Vietnam, and Philippines.
I know what you're thinking. This might seem like there's a lot of teams, but 5 of the teams will go through.
Yep.
And of course, for Group B, we have Team Iran, Team Saudi Arabia, Team Jordan, Team United Arab Emirates, and also Team Oman. So 2 of these teams will go through from the side of Group B. Now, looking at Group C, we are going to have Team Kazakhstan, Team Uzbekistan, Team Kyrgyzstan, and also Team Tajikistan. 2 of these teams, once again, will go through as well.
Now, on the side of Group D, we do have got Team Nepal. Team Nepal, Team Sri Lanka. We got Team Hong Kong, China. We do have Team Mongolia as well as Team Pakistan, whereby the top 2 will qualify while the third team goes into the last chance qualifiers. Good for you guys to know as well. When it comes down to Group B, the third place also goes to last chance qualifiers.
Yeah, that's right. So on the last day itself, once the standings are set, we get our top 3. The third place of B and D will battle it out for that final position. So we do have a bit of a last chance qualification as well. But of course, since we are here, we have to thank the people that have brought us here so far. And first of all, I would like to thank the Singapore Esports Association and also Zenway Productions for being our co-organizers here.
Of course, in support of sports promotions, we do have Sports Singapore in part with us. Alongside our official integrated resorts partner, we've got Resorts World Sentosa, which is where we all are. Oh, hold on a second. There we go. All right. And of course, our official partner comes down to Moonton Games, My Republic, and Secret Lab.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us here. And of course, thank you so much for watching, for all the audience that are watching right now, and all of you guys that are gathered here at the live arena. And I do feel, right, today we're going to have a very good standing of where all these teams are at, especially in terms of placements, when it comes down to, just feeling each other out a little bit.
Exactly. So at this point in time, it's all about feeling for each other. In boxing, you will always kind of test distance. This is the kind of day that we can expect coming in, especially for match number 1.
So we have Team Saudi Arabia, very familiar faces here. We have El Rashidi, we have Karaba, we have El Khoraini, and we have El Sulaimani, and also El Karni as well. And of course, these are their official names, but they do have their monikers in-game, right? When you think about their in-game monikers, these guys, Team Falcons, Twisted Minds, the best from MPL MENA, just gathered over here.
Yep. As much as we have managed to dug out based on their names, well, we do have Sanji, Troll, Coffin, and Sano from Team Falcons, while Ashvin is actually from Twisted Minds, and if I'm not wrong, currently a free agent.
Yeah, so I'm not too sure of whether he's a free agent right now, but we know there might be talks. There might be talks.
Team Falcons.
Yeah, looking like he's wearing green right now.
Yeah. I mean, it might be the Falcons, might be the Hawks, might be some other birds out there in the nation. I don't know what's out there, but you guys pretty much get the idea. We have 4 out of 5 of these players that are from Team Falcons after all, so maybe there will be some developments. In the meantime, for the side of Team Oman, we do have El Rakadi, we got El Karusi, El Ghasani, El Breki, and El Alawi that comes in to the team. Now, we don't particularly have any much information from them. As much as we try to dig out from them, doesn't really give us a very good idea, if whether they are veteran players or, starting new players.
So coming into this stage, right, going up against experienced veterans such as Team Saudi Arabia, when it comes down to Team Oman, do they have that competition experience? Can they handle that on-stage jitters? When you're playing on that main stage, it's a completely different experience from when you're just playing at home. You know, when you're just doing community tournaments, online qualifiers, very different when you're representing your nation and your team.
Yep, you have a lot that is going to be on your shoulders, and we have people all around the world that is watching. After all, this is the Asian Games, after all, right? And this is, after all, going to be the qualifying stages where there is very limited spot where you will be able to head over to the main event there at Aichi Nagoya. So you're going to have to show your best hand. Perhaps not day one, but at some point in time, because we have a total of 4 days of Mobile Legends Bang Bang games for you guys. Every single day are chock full of games where I believe that is all 7 series, or rather 7 games of best of 3 series.
Yeah, and of course, all the group players will be happening at the same time. So there will be concurrent games going on. So
Yes.
we'll try and update you guys as much as possible with the standings from the different groups. Once we finish one series, once we finish second series, as soon as the information comes in. But of course, at the group stage and also at the main stage itself, the games that we'll be watching, we have already announced. But looking at all these games, it's going to be best of 3s. And now going into the map, veto, map selection, map randomization, we're going into Broken Walls.
Yep, it's going to be Broken Walls, so we should definitely be able to expect some, lock dances that are going to be extended a lot longer because of the resets that we can expect to see. These kind of normal talks that, when the new maps just came out, we had a lot of talks about it. But we have come down to the point where the meta is not really defined by the maps all that much. Maybe a small little inkling. Maybe one hero is great for the map. Everyone else just kind of don't care about it.
Yeah, well, when you talk about Broken Walls, right? When you think about ranked gameplay, you think about Grok, right? Having the ability to place that barrier, having the ability to just wild charge through the walls as well. So that just gives you another setup option as well. But now taking a look at the current meta, as you said, the map doesn't really matter in terms of meta-defining characters, meta-defining heroes. And we just had a hot patch just coming through just yesterday. So there's a lot of changes.
Yep. Speaking of that, right? Everyone should have realized by now that the patch just dropped in yesterday. As such, Hirara is available for play, but not for competition. Because as per normal, right? Every time there is a new patch, a new revamped hero, or a new hero, new revamped heroes or whatnot, they will always be pseudo banned for the first 2 weeks. And unfortunately, Hirara is not gonna be an excuse for it.
Yeah, I don't think anyone wants to play Hirara at the moment.
Hey, she's a baddie. Okay, she's a baddie.
But she's kind of bad at the game too. So I would say, I mean, having piloted Hirara yesterday, I would just say, not too impressive so far. Does need a little bit of work. It's very greedy hero, do require a bit of micro as well, very micro intensive character. In terms of resource management, you got to be on point as well. There's just a lot of things to juggle in the current state where the game is happening so fast right now.
There is also a lot of questions if whether it's going to shift anything when it comes to the meta, for example. Are we going to be looking at a meta where it's going to be similar to what we saw in the previous MPLs in their very specific regions, or are they going to be trying out something completely different based on the new patch? So what kind of theory crafting do we have here?
Currently, we do have the Ruby being one of the top few in terms of the buff nodes, right? In terms of just damage, in terms of just pure damage alone, Ruby has been buffed through the roof. And I feel that with that Ruby just being in that top tier, the healing meta might just be on the cusp of coming back. We might see Matilda again, because Matilda has technically had that damage buff as well. Also, at the same time, it just makes for a great time to play those healer characters right now. We talk about the old school, right? We talked about maybe Fredrin into that... What's that called again?
No, unless I can read your mind at this point in time.
Yeah, the lady that heals. Not Angela.
I can literally just give you everyone. Estes.
No.
No, is a lady Rafaela?
No.
God damn. At this point in time,
Sanrio.
Has a
Angela? has a Sanrio collab?
Florin?
Yeah, Florin. There we go. Okay, now we got that mental block out of the way.
There we
are
go.
heading into the banning and drafting phase. We do have the two Sin, the Cho,
I
and
get the
carry
creative block at the time as well.
being banned out. Marcel, of course, now one of the strongest 100% ban pick heroes.
We should
It
expect
got
that.
even stronger this patch.
Oh, okay. So at least for now, we do have got a pretty solid start coming in from Team Oman. I do love the Baxia first pick. However, looking at, B2 of that Faramis is not something that I really expect to see, but it's still gonna be completely fine in my honest opinion. But Yves, Glue, and Guinevere does seem like a very crazy start. Pretty good for Team Saudi Arabia for now.
Yeah, Team Oman just taking a playbook out of the sustain meta, trying to just extend the team fight as much as possible, playing with that Faramis into that Baxia. And now with that Guinevere pick, looking extremely good coming out from the side of Team Saudi Arabia as well. They have extremely good catch. They also have an extremely good front line as well. Now they do take out the Khalid. Now with the possible bans that will come through, the gold laner has yet to be picked from the side of Saudi Arabia. Claude is still in the pool, still extremely strong and impressive. Whether or not they choose to ban it out right now.
That is the question, if it's gonna leave the banning pool, which is the main question here. Now, let's identify a little bit what we can expect from each of these two teams and if whether they're sending us any form of signals. At least for Team Saudi Arabia, they are a very containment-based composition for now. We've got Glue and Guinevere both as a very strong harasser, Glue being the main annoyance, but with a simple form of crowd control or area denial coming in from Yves. This generally just means that Team Saudi Arabia, they generally want to play around the river lines as much as possible, and they do want to be a little bit more on the aggressors. While in the meantime, for Team Oman, they want to be fast by the pick of the Baxia along with the side of the Faramis. However, we don't really quite have a very clear idea if whether they are actually going to play a Faramis roam, or because there is always a possibility of seeing a Faramis mid, which is quite unlikely, but we should never throw that out of the window.
Yeah, so this ban from Saudi Arabia leaves the Kalea in the pool, right? The Kalea is extremely strong at dealing again with that Glue, having the ability to just isolate as well as the Guinevere and the Yves as well. Now, with the side of Team Oman still lacking that gold laner ban, Team Saudi Arabia, they have yet to pick up the gold laner. I'm not too sure whether they should let Claude out into the pool, especially against a Faramis and also a Baxia. Yes, you do have that sustain available, but once that ultimate is down, that might be a great timing. And they actually ban out the Arnold instead.
I don't think that they are particularly too concerned about a Claude, because as of now, it doesn't necessarily mean too much if Oman wants to aggress and be the fast one. As of now, it looks like they are more divey than Saudi Arabia, because as long as Baxia is able to rush in, literally everyone will be able to, give very good support to the Baxia. The question is, who is going to be the XP laner that comes in fair play together with the Baxia? Anyone that have got great mobility, as well as anyone who have great, I suppose, presence around the map will generally be good. Someone like the likes of Yu Zhong, for example, since Lapu is gone, it's not that fast, so it's not that important for them.
Yeah, so it will be confirmed to be a Glue roam coming in from the side of Team Saudi Arabia. So Terizla will be going on the EXP lane. Now, yet to fill in the jungle, no, not the EXP lane role for the side of Team Oman, as you said before. Going up against the Terizla, yeah, you still have that CC pick available if, let's say, you just want to win the lane alone. But in terms of team fight as well, yeah, like what you said, the Yu Zhong would be a great pick here, but do you want to pick up the Ruby here? Do you want to go for that buffed Ruby, because it has left the pool completely as well. So that will be an available pick for them. And if, let's say, Faramis is also going into that roam role, yes, you have the option of going for the Aloy as well, or the Zetian, but they do go for the Atlas here.
Okay, I do favor the Atlas, to be honest. It's really cheaty based on the passive at this point in time. As such, it's also still within the dive meta that we are looking out for, or rather the dive-centric identity that we want to see out of Oman. They also picked up the Yu Zhong, so we do have very strong map presence that is able to allow them to play around with lanes and do quite a bit of macro management. As such, Team Saudi Arabia will decide to echo that. They do have some dive elements in it. They, however, don't have a lot of map presence or global map presence. As such, split pushing is going to be super important. As such, pick up a Moskov and relying a lot on the SOD is going to be their way of playing around.
Yeah. Atlas completely leaving the pool there, and that was just ignored all the way to the last pick. I can't believe Fatal Links, you let the Fatal Links come through. And for the side of Team Saudi Arabia,
No
yes,
respect to the Atlas.
a lot of solo plays, but at the same time, there's not much synergy. Only the real-world manipulation into that penalty zone.
Honestly, there is a lot more of the counter-engage that we want to see from the side of Saudi Arabia, right? As much as possible, they want to also kind of see where Oman is going to be targeting, how they are going to be looking at things, because the main point here is that they want the glue to be the main person, the main tank, the main vanguard. While in the meantime, allowing the Terizla, because Terizla does have the range and mobility to reach over to the back line, such as the Irithel as well as the Faramis. They want to be slightly away from the dive-centric team from the side of Oman.
Yeah, this is why the Faram is still not very favored in that early stage of the game, right? Not having that clear speed available, already brought down Chung down to extremely low. Karaba will be expanding a flicker here for Al Fadi's Purify. And for that mid lane, I would say currently still looking good for the side of Team Saudi Arabia in just terms of clear speed alone. And Glue is just going to have a better level 1-to-3 ratio of just trying to zone the Atlas out.
What else are we going to be looking out for? Like in the terms of XP lane as well as gold lane, I believe that the lane priorities is going to be super important here.
Yeah, lane priority, not as much, I would say. I would say jungle priority would be much more prioritized here, right?
Okay.
Now that you see El Breaky even finding that level 3 way ahead of El Sulaimani. El Sulaimani has to catch up in terms of the clear speed. Will not have the glue to be available to help him for that level 1-to-3, because the Faramis and the Atlas, you expect him to keep him there as much as possible. Now, that first objective take is going to be very important for both teams because they're running utility jungles as well.
We do have El Alawi that managed to hit level 4 at this point in time. Well, Al Khani is not quite there, so allowing the Yuzhong to actually leave lane a lot earlier than Terizla is going to help a lot. They do have information at the very least that Team Oman, they have 4 members that's going to be cooped up down to the bottom lane. So they're going to be starting things out real quickly as the RWM is just going to be popping right out while Al Sulaimani picks up the kill onto the turtle. The dragon doesn't really seem to do too well when in the meantime penalty zone lands on the 3. Jumping right on top of Al Alawi brings him down right after the Violent Requiem. As now, Team Saudi Arabia, they are putting up a really good fight as they manage to find another kill down onto Al Fadi. And at this point in time, it's really difficult because we're looking at a 2-for-1 trade.
Yeah, this is the segmented team fight that Saudi Arabia have been looking for. Spear of Destruction does land, but not going to be able to jump in here. El Rashidi does see the chance, but not going to jump into Avaxia, into that enemy jungle. But this is the level spike that we need to see out of the Atlas. He was not level 4. Does use the flicker, but did not have that Fatal Links available, right? So in terms of that 5v5, Team Oman are very ultimate reliant in terms of you need to have that Black Dragon form. You need to have Fatal Links to make the team fight work. Meanwhile, for Saudi Arabia, with the Guinevere, what it gives them is the chance to just choose and pick whichever fight that they wish to and on whatever battlefield. So it really favors them in terms of just taking these, you know, skirmish fights when there's not much going on in the map.
So at this point in time, the main thing that we kind of want to look out for is going to be a matchup between the roamers. How exactly are they wanting to start a team fight, for example? We do have Team Saudi Arabia that actually committed quite a bit over to that pickoff, which unfortunately did not do too well. But fortunately, it's just the resource used is only ultimates, not much of flickers.
Yeah, but still, macro advantage going the way of Saudi Arabia. They've been doing a great job of keeping the map pressure up so far. 2,000 gold advantage currently at 4 minutes into the game. And right now, we do have a bit of skirmish going on, but nothing much is going to result from a Tarizla and also a Yuzong going up against each other. But wait a minute.
That's not great coming in from a Yuzong right there. But regardless, that is going to be Alkani that is close to level 8, and losing up the Yuzong right before the turtle is going to be detrimental to the macro management for the team of for the side of Team Oman. As such, Team Oman, they still kind of stuck around a little bit. As such, that is going to be a grand punish for them. They should already know that they are unable to win in that fight. So right now, Team Saudi Arabia, they will make full use of the very fact that the team from Team Oman is so close. They jump in, takes 2 men down, even dove down onto the top lane turret, now putting a lot of damage over to El Breaki and bringing down the jungler. In fact, for El Fadi, he still went in, and they are literally going 1 for 1 for 1, literally as solo heroes for their own team.
Not looking good for the side of Team Oman. That was still 5 minutes into the game. That was a Petrify available on El Alawi, and he has not found a chance to use it in that first 5 minutes of the game. We saw that 1v1 skirmish versus Alkarni. That might have been his ego just talking to him. And now looking at the team fight as well, right? Just does not favor their positioning at all. They were caught behind the turret, and they could have easily just taken that dive. And for Team Saudi Arabia, with the farm that they have, they're going to take all the dives that they can from now on.
It's really tough for Team Oman right now, especially since they are a dive comp. As much as possible, they want to jump over the back lines. However, they are just losing in quite a lot of aspects right now. They lost the top lane and the bottom lane T1 turret, which will eventually lead up to the T1 turret in the middle lane as well. So a lot of resources will definitely be pushed down to the middle lane. So Team Oman, they are just going to be pushing up all of their resources right here. But the question is, do they have got an advantage enough to block this out?
Yeah, losing that mid-tier turret at that 6 minute mark is not going to be good news at all for Team Oman. They are falling behind. They can't give the space here as it is pop. But now, right now, that real-world manipulation coming through for the side of Team Saudi Arabia, still dominating the battlefield. 3 members already down for the side of Team Oman, and Saudi Arabia continue on that tear through. They lose a member, but it does not matter. That Black Dragon form, no use at all.
Yep, a little bit too late for the Black Dragon form, unfortunately. It would be great in the start of things, just so that you will be able to put up some of these Shard residue stacks onto everyone, and that will ultimately create a bit of panic. But that doesn't seem too right, unfortunately. Now we go with another Violet Requiem.
Yeah, the jump in coming through from the side of Guinevere. That is just the scary power of the Guinevere, right? It leaks the pool at that early draft. We totally forgot about how oppressive this character is when it comes down to getting these jumps. Now, combined with the stick ability coming out from Karaba, that's just going to be a free engage every single time. They're willing to give Karaba's life into starting these team fights as long as they can get a favorable position.
Indeed. I mean, for the side of Glue, he is the vanguard after all. So as much as possible, if he's able to get a single connect onto the stick, then it's more or less going to be done. You do have got free engagement coming in from Al Sumayamani or perhaps even from Alkani. They have a lot of initiators that will help them kick off a big fight altogether. They don't necessarily have to play for big fights, but it comes down to splitting the fight into two that will eventually help them a lot.
Yeah, Team Oman looking a bit chopped at the moment. 10,000 gold advantage coming in from the side of Team Saudi Arabia, and they're showing their international experience right now. Fatal Links used on one character, and it's not even enough. Karava just runs away, Patrick Starr. Run away, my friend. And now for Team Saudi Arabia, it's more about the map control, right? Securing the advantage, making sure they don't make mistakes here. As Team Oman, they can still potentially catch, but they don't have that control factor at all. They don't have a solo control.
Yep. Unfortunately, I really like Team Oman's draft. However, it's more about the execution that they were not able to kind of hold down the fort. The game was great and all until I believe 3 minutes in, when they started to lose a lot more lead by the minute. And understandably for Team Saudi Arabia, they took control from that point on, and they will consistently be able to ensure that their gameplay is flawless enough to hold up this kind of momentum, putting them at 11,000 gold lead at 8 minutes and 40 seconds into the game. This is uncalled for.
Yeah, I mean, very masterfully drafted from the side of Team Saudi Arabia, just securing that early game advantage, having that Eve glue into Guinevere, that is already your core combo, right? Your EXP lane at that point, it can be whatever. Your gold lane at that point, as long as it can secure gold lane and get that late game through, you have the Claude, you have the Carry. No, Carry was banned out. You had the Moskov. There was a lot of choices because for Team Oman, they went for Irithel so early on into the draft. And that's just not going to be a good time, especially into an enemy glue and also a Eve as well.
Yep. I do like the mobility from the Irithel, but it's not really the time for the Irithel to pop off as of yet. Going up against a Moskov in the gold lane is more about the skill matchup at that point in time, but it's not going to be super important at that point. But regardless, as we slowly move on over to the Lord that will be marching in from the middle lane. Not the best lane for the Lord to be at, but hey, it is what it is, right? They will be able to shove some of these waves on the top and the middle lane to try to sync it up. And it's not too shabby. We do have the Terizla that held on to the top lane and the Moskov held on to the bottom lane while everyone just made it to the middle.
Yeah, 10 minutes into the game, not looking good here. Tier 3 turret already under siege here. Black Dragon form has been used in the back line. Roll manipulation just to secure that space. And it will be just a kill from Al Rashidi. Pure destruction misses, but Oman, they have to run away. Team Oman, they're so low as Karaba is just hanging around in the back line with the Lord. And Al Karani just going down right now. But doesn't matter, Al Rashidi still throwing spears from behind as the game ends. And Team Saudi Arabia get first game for themselves.
Indeed. There is a little bit too much of advantage coming in from Team Saudi Arabia. In fact, I will say this again. Team Oman's draft is not horrible. In fact, I really like their draft. I can see what they're trying to do. I can really see what they're trying to do. But it just boils down to their laning. Their laning as well as their tempo. They are unable to take that away from the start of the game. Yuzhong versus the Terizla. In most contexts, your Yuzhong is not looking to win against the Terizla. You want to leave the lane faster than the Terizla in order to help out your team. And with the very first turtle, it does definitely seem like that fact. However, they lost the turtle fight because of a probably mistrigger from the retribution. And from that point on, things start to slowly crumble until we met to the point where Yuzhong lost against Terizla in his own lane. And from that point on, Turtle was just completely out of reach.
I think what set the standard for the side of Team Saudi Arabia, of course, the Terizla, in terms of EXP lane, getting that 1v1 in through to that Yuzhong as well. Very good usage of the penalty zones in team fight, especially with the role of manipulation. But what set the difference between Team Oman and Team Saudi Arabia was that mid lane priority, right?
Yes.
Paramis not having that level of mid lane priority that the premier mid laners have right now. That's why we see people pick up the Lilia. That's why we see people pick up the Gord, the Eve as well.
Yeah. So there is a lot of discussion that is more towards the side of the Faramis, right? Faramis does have decent damage, decent damage, especially if you kind of put the Faramis into Assassin Emblem, then I think the damage is a lot more. So at least for Al-Fadi, he's trying to make up for the missing parts, the missing parts of the puzzle by using Assassin Emblem. But however, it's not entirely about the base stats or the base damage. It also comes down to the overall kit, for example, right? We do have Elbreki as jungler that is playing as a tank jungler. Really strong damage in the early stages of the game, but if you kind of think about it together with the Faramis as well as the Atlas, they can definitely be very annoying to deal with. However, if they want to really go for anyone, they have to dive pretty hard.
Yeah, that was just not going to work out against Team Saudi Arabia, right? The harder you dive, the harder they can catch you. They do have a great solo catch coming in from the Guinevere as well as Al Rashidi with the Spear of Despair. Anytime you jump in too deep, you can be pinned against a wall. And the combos just coming through. There's a lot of synergy from the side of Team Saudi Arabia. Meanwhile, for the side of Team Oman, yes, they have very good teamfight capability, but we're so ultimate reliant. And just taking a look at the damage taken, 250k damage taken, they were not firing back on any kind of cylinder at all.
If we were given this kind of lineup coming from Team Oman, I would say that they will be able to, do well in very certain and very niche situations of hero composition on the opposite side. In this very case, we do have Team Saudi Arabia that plays a lot more on counter-engage. They have very good utilities that will be able to counter-engage against the opponents. I may be hit first, like as a glue, sure, but I do have a Guinevere that could come in. I do have a Terizla that will be able to come in as well. So in most situations, having a Baxia, Atlas, and a Faramis, you can slowly bring the opponents down. You would have definitely enough damage for your skirmishes, but not quite enough against a counter-engage comp like these.
Yeah, so it was just boiling down to the lack of pickoffs as well, because you can team fight all you want, there's no damage coming through. Irithel is an AoE damage character, you're not going to be able to burst anyone down in time. And
He's touching skill.
And the problem is, we saw the problem, right? We saw Karaba just running around the battlefield. He's just Patrick Star, and he's just going, yo, 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 it's no problem at all.
To be fair though, you gotta have to say that the frigid area coming in from Atlas is actually a very big problem to the glue. He will walk so slow that, it might not matter too much. But also the main other question is, does it even make sense for an Atlas to constantly stick onto a glue?
Yeah, because the physics itself, it makes sense, right? Glue gets hardened by ice and then it breaks, right? Because it becomes brittle. But in terms of the game itself, the glue is just still gonna stick onto you and then just force you out of position, and you get the situation where you're forced to use Fatal Links on one person alone. And taking out that capability, because you can see the only initiation coming out from inside of Team Oman was that Fatal Links. So once that's out, the battle's out.
Technically, if we want to talk about Shadow Stampede, it is also another form of initiation. Although it is not guaranteed, it is not exactly, the best kind of initiation. But it is something to pull people in. It does help to initiate to a certain extent. But it is not a, what can I say? It is not an instant gratification kind of initiating tool. You don't want to rely on it.
Yeah, that was just a game one indeed. Game one indeed from the side of Team Saudi Arabia. So far, I would say Saudi Arabia, the way that they draft, the way that they play, they know their macros well, the terms of execution as well. You saw the mid priority coming through, getting that level 4 ahead of time for the glue, having that ability to have that stick, and also just play around with the Atlas before that level 4 mark. Now, going into the map selection here, Broken Walls again.
Yay!
Hitting that 50-50.
Well, either way, 50-50? Which part of 4 maps 50-50 is that?
It's always a yes or no.
Oh, goddamn. You're right.
It's always a yes or no. 50-50.
So
everything in life is 50-50, my friend.
Oh, so hitting the lottery is not 1 in a million chance, but it's a 50-50. Either you hit it or you don't.
It's either you hit it or you don't.
Philosophy.
It's either you win Asian Games esports events
or you don't.
Or you don't.
Yeah, everyone has a 50-50 chance.
Exactly. You never know what's going to happen. And I mean, Team Saudi Arabia right now, they might have the draft on lock. But with the new patch, anything can happen, right? Someone can pull off a Ruby Florin at this moment, and then suddenly it becomes the best idea ever.
Well, at this point in time, it is and it could be meta-defining. Literally any part of these games would change the meta altogether. Anyone that find a great combination and play that combination will naturally, be picked up by the other teams. But also do note that at this point and at this conjuncture, we are mostly looking at, shadow punches. We are just testing the stuff. There's hardly any stakes around the games right now because it is just the first game. You can afford to trial and error. You can afford to learn about your opponents a little bit more before you go a little bit deeper in. Because remember, when it comes down to Group A, you have a total of 5 slots, alright? And Group B, C, and D, 2 slots for all of them, except for the fact that Group B and D, you have a single LCQ slot for the 3rd place.
Yeah, so it's still gonna be tough, I would say.
It's still tough, but,
You say that you have a lot of time, but in terms of round robin, right? Sometimes you only get to play against a certain team once. And you want to make the most out of that game time as well. So whether or not you want to get an early head start or whether or not you are going for that last marathon sprint is going to matter in terms of the points, because only 2 will make it from this group. Now, looking at the band stages coming through, the Phobius, Kalea, and also the Freya stable bands coming out, the Cho, Dusin, and also the Paquito as well. So this leaves the Marcel in the pool as well. So 100% going to be picked up from the side of Team Saudi Arabia.
Without a question, right? Team Saudi Arabia will pick that up really fast. Well, in the meantime, Team Oman, they have picked up the Guinevere for themselves as well for the R1 pick. Looking at this, there is still quite a bit of choices that you can eventually go for, but they have decided to pick up a God.
Yeah, this is usually what happens when you go for a Marcel first pick, right? You don't have that lockdown available. You don't really have the Kaja. Maybe you think about the Franco having the ability to just hook. I mean, it works in rank, but competitive-wise, the Kaja is really much more preferred. Now, going with the Marcel, you do want to just back up on your team fight composition. They're going for that tank capability. Baxia currently still sitting at the top of that tank so far, and we feel that teams, they've been using it a lot, right? But so far, we have also seen the Fredrin and the Arlot combo come up into the question quite a bit, but you need to get those 2 as a 2-piece.
Now, moving on forward, we talked about the Baxia, and now the Moskov joins in as well. Pretty early to be giving out the win condition, but it's not that big of a deal to a certain extent over here. So, moving on forward, we already have the Roma, Jungler, and the Gold Laner that has been decided for Team Saudi Arabia, which leaves out against the mid laner and the XP laner, which is actually 2 very important roles for the side of Team Saudi Arabia, as that is going to decide how they want to play the game.
Yeah, currently right now for Team Oman, they did have the Arlot available. If they wanted to go for the final slash into the Violet Requiem combo, with the Gord, it would have been great, but surprisingly they picked up the Atlas first because they do respect the ability to have that Fatal Links. But now, with this, picking up that, they have to ban out the Valentina. They actually ban out the Tien first, which is surprising, right? Because right now, Team Saudi Arabia, they are going to pick up the Valentina to get that Fatal Links for themselves no matter what.
Do they really want to go for that direction? At this point in time, it kind of seems as though for the side of Coach Hamden, he's looking for artillery or anything that have got very significant range. As such, yes, there we go. Valentina will be taken away. But we also do kind of leak out a bit of an information where anything that allows them to kind of stop Gord is going to be a problem.
Yeah, so far, that Gord is going to be a problem if they don't have that mid lane priority, but Dusin already banned out. They can still go for that Eve if they wish to do so. The Farsa, still one of the answers towards the Gord in terms of just having the range, having that mid 1v1, right? In terms of team fight, not going to have that burst capability, but you do have that AoE capability if, let's say, you want to go old school. But now for the side of Team Saudi Arabia, they will be trying to take out much more EXP laners, whether or not the Lapu Lapu looking like a choice here. Ruby, also the Arlot as well.
Team Oman still seem as though they like dive. They have got really good ways to jump over to the backlines of Team Saudi Arabia. So as a dive comp, having to pick up R4 and giving Team Saudi Arabia the chance to pick up B4 and B5 is going to be a little bit difficult at this point, right? Because right now, they most likely want to figure out who their gold laner is and then move on to their XP laner for the last pick.
Yeah, and I don't like this at all.
Still the same direction
I don't like this at all. I don't like this at all. Going with the Irithel against a Marcel, it's just going to be a bad time. Yeah, Irithel, you are known for moving fast, right? You gotta move fast to hit more.
Yep.
But Marcel moves faster.
Marcel moves like the wind.
Yeah, so Marcel moves faster and oh my god!
Whoa.
What are we seeing here?
Okay. Nice. Yay. I'm not too sure about that. I'm not too sure how to feel about this. However, Kagura does have a true Umbrella Flea that does help her deal with some of these very pesky catch heroes. Well, in the meantime, you also do have your... What's that? You do have your ultimate deck. Do have a knockback. I'm not very sure if the knockback does anything to Gord in this situation. But if you do have a Kagura, you might very likely be able to burst down the Gord rather than to disrupt the Gord enough.
And finally, we do see the Ruby here. The buff to Ruby, mean and red, not mean and green. Because, yeah, Ruby is red after all. And now we do have that capability coming in from the Kagura, as we were saying before, I feel that it's going to be a wonky interaction, especially when it comes down to the Guinevere. It's going to be who initiates first, right? Who gets the catch first? Does the Kagura or the Guinevere get the catch first? If you get a pick off first on either of these sides, you're dandy. You're good to go. But the good thing about Team Oman is they can have a great fallback with the Fatal Links combo with the Irithel as well. But the late game is much more secured with the Moskov and the Marcel.
Now, the thing about the early game between these two teams really boils down to who can survive longer in these team fights, right? We don't have someone that particularly is very bursty, albeit the mages are not too bad once they get their level 4s and all that jazz. They are the bursty ones. However, not bursty enough to be instantaneously just clapping someone out of the existence. For example, if you have, for example, a Ruby, a Guinevere, and an Atlas that jumps in, then let's be honest here, there's no burst of that. So it's all about whittling down the opponents long enough, or whose reinforcements or macro play is better.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like this, right? The Ruby pick. No, I mean, I like the Lapu Lapu pick, not the Ruby pick, because Lapu Lapu with the Wildest Warrior, I mean, he's going to have a great time. The Bravest Warrior is just going to be control immune the entire time and just going to have a lot of fun.
Now, of course, when it comes down to the initial part of the game, we are going to be looking at Lapu versus the Ruby, and both of them, well, let's just call them a, well, anticlimactic fight. They are not going to go anywhere. They are just pool noodles that will be slapping one another. But in the meantime, up above, we have Irithel as well as the Moskov. I don't expect too much out of either one of these two, so this really boils down to the main roaming trio in the middle lane. So having mid lane prio sounds fun.
Yeah, now that Marcel is going to become a huge problem, especially when it comes down to these objective fights. And when we come down to the objective fights, that Fatal Link time is going to be very key here, still not giving El Carusi any form of level advantage at all, forcing out the flicker once again. But now we have the flicker already used on both sides on that EXP lane as well.
It's really unfortunate though, they weren't able to layer the crowd control for long enough to be able to really hold down onto Elkani, because if they actually manages to bring down Lapu, that would be great, because the turtle is about to come out and that will leave Elkani at level 3, unable to do too much. But now with the Bravest Warriors, pretty darn sure that Team Saudi Arabia, they do have got the power spike already from this point onwards.
Yeah, right now Team Saudi Arabia having complete control of that turtle. And yeah, without the flickers available from El Alawi, there was no way from the I'm Offended to come through. And that might have been just greatest pull of the trigger from the side of El Carni so far, and this gives them control into that orange buff as well. So Saudi Arabia right now, in terms of just resource management, in terms of just invasions, in terms of just map control, they're just starting to ramp up already, and we can see how strong the Marcel is in terms of that vision game as well. Just look at him. Karava is a problem in game 1 and game 2 as well.
Literally just riding the wind, as he's just going to be walking past the two heroes from the side of Team Oman. They take the opportunity and they will be wrecking down all of these damage onto El Carusi, bringing him down very effectively without any one of the members from Team Saudi Arabia to suffer much consequences at all.
Yeah, so far, very good golden hour, and now we do see El Fadi in a lot of trouble here.
Yep, doesn't seem like he's gonna get away, but hey, take a look at that. We do have the SOD that will manage to land, but I don't think that that is gonna mean too much for the Moskov. He's not gonna jump right in. Now, you also need to remember that at this point in time, El Carusi, he does not have got his Fatal Links as of yet. He's still stuck at level 3, one full level behind El Karaba, and this is generally gonna make a very big problem because there is no power spike from Team Oman. Even for the XP laners, there was no power spike. No power spike at all for Team Oman, while in the meantime, Team Saudi Arabia, they can be so oppressive with that Baxia plus Marcel. Let's be honest here, the jungle does not belong to Team Oman at all.
Yeah, early game priority still very good for the side of Team Saudi Arabia in terms of just mid management into that EXP lane management, getting that level 4 just way ahead of time. But now we do have a flicker. Fatal Links only on to 1 though.
But it's okay because the rest of the members coming from the side of Team Saudi Arabia, they wanted to go in as a counter and engage from all of that. In the end of the day, quite a lot of them has been dealt quite a bit of damage, but no one has went down yet from the side of Team Saudi Arabia. In fact, it is the other way around. It is Team Oman that suffered 3 losses.
Yeah, in terms of Team Oman's pick-off comp, if let's say they don't go first, they're doomed. But they don't go last, they're doomed as well. So it's
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
It's a bad situation, and they had to split up the fight with the Guinevere and El Carusi, but the Fatal Links going first was not something to be expected there for the side of Team Oman.
Yep. Now, this kind of boils down to the question that whoever have got the advantage would generally be a lot better because we don't have that power spike from the side of Team Oman. They don't have that burst damage that we could see. In retrospect, technically speaking, you can say that a Lapu Lapu does have a certain level of burst in his Ultimate Warriors, or rather Bravest Warrior, the moment that he have got the lead. So you gotta have to really look out for that. In the meantime, a simple clapback from the side of Team Oman.
Very good catch coming out from the side of Team Oman. They need to win battles like this, right? Take out the Moskov, take out the Kagura as much as possible, but now,
1 point.
El Rakati, well, what were you doing still in the lane as an Irithel, my friend? I mean, you should have saw that from a mile away. You might be fast, but Marcel is faster.
Yep, literally. To a certain extent, could even say that he's riding in the wind, in the speed of sound at this point in time. He's fast, but you know, not a lot can compete against him. But right now we do have El Kani that just went straight in for the Bravest Warrior, but he suffered a lot of damage coming in from the Mystic Gush. He stood there for an extended period of time. Small little mistakes from the side of Saudi Arabia, which does help Team Oman quite a bit.
Yeah, this is huge coming in from the side of Team Oman. This might be the game-defining moment here because Al Fadi, with those 2 kills, just essentially brought them back into the game because that factor, that burst factor that we were talking about that Team Oman lacked, this was going to be their comeback in. But still, right, Kagura has been a problem. El Koraini, I don't know how he's doing it, but he's currently 5-0-2.
This means that both teams, they have a very obvious, okay, maybe not for both teams, but for Team Oman, they have a very obvious target board onto Team Saudi Arabia, and that is mostly going to be onto El Koraini, because a very fed and a very snowbally Kagura is not going to be great at all, and is very difficult to handle at this point in time.
Yeah, we start to see the damage coming through from the side of El Rakati as well on the Irithel. So definitely picking up that Haas Claws is still missing out on that crit build, I think. Yes, he will be going for either the Berserker's Fury at this point, but right now the Holy Trinity very close from the side of Al Rashidi, and once he pops that up, it's going to be that power spike coming through from the side of Team Saudi Arabia. They're still keeping the macro up at 4,000.
4,800 gold lead is the more approximate amount that we're looking out for the side of Team Saudi Arabia, and 7 minutes, I would say, is a lot of a improvement for the side of Team Oman, because in the previous game, by this point in time, we are roughly looking at 9,000 gold lead already. So definitely, we are looking at some improvements that would help Team Oman a tad a little bit. But we'll see how. Wait, was that a flicker coming from El Breaki? Because okay, no, that's weird. But regardless, there we go. It is gonna be a golden moment. Is exactly down onto El Breaki, but he don't have enough support from anyone to bring him down. In the end of the day, it is just gonna be a simple 1-for-1 trade between 2 members, and the entirety of Team Saudi Arabia, they're gonna be focusing down in the middle lane, not quite enough to bring down the T2 though.
Yeah, Golden Hour just not able to catch, but still very good zoning coming out from the side of Team Saudi Arabia as they manage to cycle out all the flickers. The ultimate from the Gord is gone. Now they can take the team fight as they wish.
Immediately, El Badi is gonna go down. That is gonna be one of the main damage dealers from the side of Team Oman. Losing them is gonna be a very big problem. Purified coming in from El Rashidi, ensure that he gets himself away from the Violent Requiem, but did not proc at all.
Yeah, and this is just a taste of what is to come, right? When there's no objectives on the map, they are still able to fight skirmishes like this. We did see one mistake out of Karaba, but that's it. Once bitten, twice shy, and now he just wastes the enemy utility, make sure that the flicker is not up, and consistently cycling out that flicker, making sure that Al Fadi does not have the ability to escape. Well, that's just going to be a great team fight for the side of Saudi Arabia, because no repositioning.
With a lot now spawning down in the bottom lane. The entirety of Team Saudi Arabia will focus down and literally focus fire down this Lord, and there is nothing that Team Oman could do at this point. They do not have got the control of their own jungle, nor do they have got the fighting ability in order to reclaim this jungle. So with the Lord going down for Team Saudi Arabia, the Lord pushes down to the bottom lane, the only lane that still has a... Oh, not only lane, sorry. The only lane that does not have a T2 turret.
Yeah, so far, Team Saudi Arabia doing a great job of asserting that map control and definitely just keeping Team Oman in check. Right now, Team Oman, they're hoping for a mistake from the side of Team Saudi Arabia, similar to the dive that Karaba pulled in that mid lane. That's their only chance into the game, and now here we go.
Immediately jumping over to the back lines. It does seem like El Breaky is not going to survive from all of that, but he's going to be fine, actually. But it's just going to be the entire pandemonium that's just going to be happening right underneath of the T3 turret. El Khani all the way deep in, but unfortunately not quite enough to be able to take down anyone at that point in time. He's going to sacrifice himself in the form of greed, while they have already taken down El Breaky as well as El Karusi, pushing down in the middle lane, losing out the holy defense, and so will the bottom lane as the Lord pushes his trusty trident down, bringing both of these two turrets down to lower than 50%. In fact, El Rashidi takes down the T3 in the middle lane. This is a great fight, and this is a great tempo for the side of Team Saudi Arabia.
Did you see that? The golden hour into the complete meltdown from the side of El Khorani. Man, this man is just insane. Look at that. In a split of a second, everybody's HP bars just trickled down.
Boom.
As Saudi Arabia with the Spear of Destruction and also El Khorani to just follow up. There's just a lot of AoE damage coming out from the side of Team Saudi Arabia. You don't want to get caught in that golden hour at all. That new Marcel is just going to be just one hell of a creature.
It's really difficult for Team Oman to not get caught by the golden hour, considering that their entire game plan is to play together. But what is that? He just so single-handedly jump over to the back lines, managed to do quite a lot over to the side of El Rakini, but unfortunately he still go down. And that is going to be a fatal link to connect down on the 3. Doesn't do too much from the side of Team Oman, as now they're just going to be focusing down onto the other side. As El Rashidi, he deals a lot of damage. He's going to be one of the main powerhouses. He's pushing the rest of the members from the side of Team Oman away, while the creep wave is just going to be pushing right in. But will they have enough to take this down? Yes, they will! As Team Saudi Arabia will take the first game.
Yeah, showing why they are the big brothers of this bracket here. The Team Saudi Arabia, the team with much more international experience. Congratulations to them for taking the series 2-0 and just shortening our series for the day.
Yep. So do note that this is of course a best of 3 series. In the very event that Team Oman were to win, then we will look at total of 3 games. But that's not going to be the case, as we did manage to see a flawless victory from the side of Team Saudi Arabia. Once again, is made up of 4 members from Team Falcons and a single member from Twisted Mind, quote-unquote free agent. Not too sure about that.
Yeah.
But still, congratulations over to Team Saudi Arabia. That's a fabulous display.
Yeah, fabulous display indeed. We did see a lot of shutdowns coming through, but taking a look, El Khorani,
Of course.
the woman with the umbrella, Kagura, just dealing so much damage. I was so amazed at his early game capability. He was just going left and right throughout the map, and also at the same time, he's able to survive. So he's not dying in these team fights.
Yep, he's got a massive bounty onto his head in this little coffin. But in the end of the day, there was just nothing that Team Oman could do to take her down at all. Rashu Umbrella Flea is understandably a very difficult skill to take note of. What's going to be the cooldown on the Rashu Umbrella Flea, and if whether they even have enough crowd control for that. Technically, for this lineup from the side of Team Oman, yes, they do. But they need time in order to get there. They do have got initiators from El Alawi, from El Breaky, El Fadi himself can even initiate, and El Karusi mostly goes down as the Vanguard sacrifice, where he goes in, fatal links, and you should expect that the Mystic Gush just rolls right in.
Yeah, you see the movement speed emblems coming out from the side of Karaba as well into El Rakadi, right? El Rakadi on that Irithel, I would say, yeah, not really a very good pick coming out from the side of Team Oman, especially going into it so late as well, especially against a Moscow. We saw game 1, game 2, they were going for that Irithel strategies, and yeah, currently I would say just not favored in the meta as well, because you're forced to take sprint as much as possible. So if you take sprint, well, you don't have Purify, you don't have Flicker. Well, as an Irithel, you have to take sprint.
Yep. It kind of feels like Irithel without a sprint kind of feels like you are lacking a leg, or you're missing a leg. So
You already have 4, but
I mean, not your 4 legs.
if you're driving the motorcycle, Ducati skin,
then technically you have 2 legs. No, 2 wheels. No, wait, never mind. But you guys pretty much get where we're coming from. But sprint, definitely important for Irithel. So if you were to pick something along the lines of a flicker, that's kind of weird. But of course, Purify is nonetheless going to be one of the other best pickup. But in this current matchup, he believed, okay, you know what? Gotta go fast.
Yeah, I believe the Irithel and the Atlas combo, it can work very well.
Big game.
But it does require a lot of farm, right? It does require a
They need
lot
a
of
tempo.
greediness.
Yeah, they need to be able to hold out in the early games first, which unfortunately was not the case because the moment that the Lapu Lapu goes online at level 4, you generally lose all form of I would say snowball potential, because that is what a Lapu Lapu could do. Just absolutely shat on the Ruby at that point in time.
Yeah, the control meta right now, I would say on the EXP lane, it is very favored towards trying to help your jungle as much as possible, trying to get the clear speed. That's why we see Paquito just being so strong right now, right? The ability to clear the lane and ability to join the team fights. But I would say maybe we're on the cusp of a revitalization meta, where the revitalization is going to come back for the side of EXP lane. Definitely for sure. That sustain meta is on the cusp of coming back. With the recent buff notes and everything, the healing meta, revitalization meta, I'm calling it, guys. It's going to come back soon.
I sure hope not, because the games are generally a lot longer than that.
Yeah, they're going to get longer.
Yay!
No, because the damage numbers are up.
Yep.
So with the damage numbers being up as well,
So you need to survive.
yeah, you need to survive. So it might not mean longer games. It might mean bigger numbers in terms of just trying to heal and just trying to fight.
Yeah. So ultimately, we gotta have to see how the meta is gonna shift, if whether the meta is even going to be shifting at all. Because at least for the very first series that we've seen today, I don't think that anything that is too meta defining or anything that is too wow, boom kind of situation.
Yeah.
The only thing that kind of, I guess, kind of took us away is the fact that a Kagura is picked. A little bit of throw back in the past, something like that.
Yeah, the Marcel pick though, that was not supposed to have come through, because currently I feel that Marcel is just very strong. You don't want to give it as a 1 or 1-2. I don't think there's a way to deal with it, but so far here at AGQ, we're going to find out how they deal with the Marcel, right? Because now it's going to be the new Marcel, and yeah, now teams are going to have to deal with him again.
Well, it's all once again back over to the drawing board. If they do have an idea what are they looking for, or there could always be the situation that we just throw Marcel into a never-ending ban. Just ban him and never see him again. If you can't deal with him, that is.
I would say so. Just ban out Marcel, man. Ban out Marcel. Ranked games as well, you should ban out Hirara as well, because make sure that your own teammates don't play him, because
that's so sad, dude.
That is not a good hero to be playing right now.
Is this really a situation where it's kind of like don't blame the game?
Don't blame the player. Blame the hero.
No, blame the player. No, blame the game. No, don't blame the game. Blame the player.
No, I'm not the only one saying it's bad.
Okay. I wanted to kind of like cuss you out a little bit.
I'm not the only one saying it's bad, man. I'm not the only one.
Take responsibility. Who's the one that said that? Who else?
There's a lot of research being put into it. There's a lot of research being put into it.
I mean, nothing I can do about that. Maybe it's really that bad, but we need a little bit more information or a little bit more time before we'll be able to do that. But speaking about time, this current MSC 2026 and MWI 2026 group draw results will be announced today, and that's the time for you guys to tune in. 18th of June. I don't think any of you guys are time travelers. Well, in the meantime, stay tuned to the MLBB Esports social media channel for all the latest updates. The road to Paris is about to begin, with the MSC 2026 wildcard kicking off on the 1st of July. Oh, that's really soon. Followed by MSC 2026 and MWI 2026 at EWC.
And also remember to follow our social media pages, especially if you want to stay updated on the latest MWI 2026 news, teams, and players, and also exclusive content, as you want to follow our queens on the MWI social media pages and be part of the journey as the world's best MLBB female players compete on the international stage.
I'm sure that Churros is super stoked for this.
Yeah,
He's always very stoked for MWI.
He loves MWI.
He loves MWI. Hint, hint.
A bit too much.
Yeah, we're kind of helping him. We're kind of helping him as much as we can. But regardless, I hope that you guys enjoyed the very first series of the day. We still got 6 more series to go. A lot of games. We are still in a wee early in the morning. We'll see you all the way to the evening. So, well, you've got the entire day to listen to us, to watch the game, and have some very enjoyable Mobile Legends Bang Bang content. We'll be back in a jiffy. Don't go anywhere too far. We'll be right back.
The human body was built to move, not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
enshrine your most brilliant moment in crimson splendor. Even something so crude can be graced with a splatter of beauty. I'll get you out! You finally come to me, Hanabi-sama!
This madness ends now!
At last, I'm shivering with excitement! Such killing intent. Does this mean Hanabi-sama finally understands Kirara? So warm. So beautiful. We can finally embrace eternity now. Just the two of us. Allow me to release your eternal bloom.
The human body was built to move, not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you. Gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
enshrine your most brilliant moment in crimson splendor. Even something so crude can be graced with a splatter of beauty. I'll get you out! You finally come to me, Hanabi-sama!
This madness ends now!
At last, I'm shivering with excitement! Such killing intent. Does this mean Hanabi-sama finally understands Hinata? So warm. So beautiful. We can finally embrace eternity in hell. Just the two of us. Allow me to release your eternal bloom.
The human body was built to move, not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
If all that bloom are fated to wither, I'll enshrine your most brilliant moment in crimson splendor. Even something so crude can be graced with a splatter of beauty. I'll get you out! You finally come to me, Hanabi-sama!
This madness ends now!
At last, I'm shivering with excitement! Such killing intent. Does this mean Hanabi-sama finally understands Kirara? So warm. So beautiful. We can finally embrace eternity now. Just the two of us. Allow me to release your eternal bloom.
The human body was built to move, not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
Enshrine your most brilliant moment in crimson splendor. Even something so crude can be graced with a splatter of beauty. I'll get you out! You finally come to me, Hanabi-sama!
This madness ends now!
At last, I'm shivering with excitement! Such killing intent. Does this mean Hanabi-sama finally understands Kirara? So warm. So beautiful. We can finally embrace eternity in hell. Just the two of us. Allow me to release your eternal bloom.
The human body was built to move. Not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again. Once again, we've got the 2026 Asian Games, and of course, is the esports for Mobile Legends Bang Bang today for the qualifier stage. We have a total of 7 full series that we are going to be covering for the entirety of today, and it's going to be a great fun. My name's Abstract. With me here is Moman. The both of us going to be a caster for today here on the English broadcast.
Yeah, so far we had a crazy first series already. Team Saudi Arabia takes the cake, right?
Yeah.
They did get a 2-0 lead, head start in terms of the bracket placement, but now we're going to see Team Iran go up against Team Oman. So Team Oman, we did see them early on in that series number 1.
Yep.
Now, how will they fare in series number 2? When we talk about Team Iran, maybe we don't have much information when it comes to them as well. So same as Team Oman as well. In terms of Team Saudi Arabia, I would say now the slate is safe.
Yep. So it's really unfortunate we couldn't dig out anything at this point in time, but hopefully along the next few days, perhaps we'll be able to get a little bit more information as to how they play, a little bit more insights onto their whole team composition or chemistry going up against with some of the other teams in the same bracket. Without a doubt, some of these teams are definitely going to be on the stronger half onto the score leaderboards, and the others, they might suffer a little bit.
Yeah, but so far we do have that group available, right?
Yep.
Where we talk about Group A, there's a lot of strong teams in Group A. That's why we have 5 teams that will go through in Group A. But meanwhile, for Group B, C, and D, only 2 of these teams will make it from each group as well. But Group B and D, they will have that third placement match at the end of the AGQ. So Asian Games qualifiers, we will have the end of that third place of Group B versus third place of Group D to decide that final slot.
Indeed. So definitely there are going to be some competition between B and D. A little bit of overlap per se. Not exactly a full-on overlap, but you guys pretty much get the idea. And of course, aside from that, you guys also do need to know that every single one of the teams here, they are playing for qualifications, and they will be chosen to play at the 2026 Asian Games in Nagoya, Japan in September, which literally is pride, prestige, and qualifications all at stake. With day number 1 right here, right now, most of these teams are still feeling each other out, trying to understand a little bit more about their current groupings and who are going to be playing in these respective teams and such, in order for them to strategize as to how they want to play in the upcoming few days.
Yeah, we are also on the cusp of a new patch, right? The new patch that has just entered. So metas are still being defined. We are still looking at what's good, what works in the meta. I'm sure teams have tried and figured things out. We did see the Ruby coming out in that first series as well. Did not do particularly too well. I gotta say, maybe you gotta go into a bit more of that healing, a bit more of that sustain. That's what I feel should be good, given the fact that, you do have a crazy amount of sustain, especially with the damage that's coming out. But we've yet to see the Fredrin. We've yet to see we've only seen the boxes so far.
Yep. And not only that, we do have the Kagura that did manage to come into play as well. But do note that this is still a very small sample size that doesn't necessarily tell us anything about the current meta. If whether it's still on the previous patch form of meta, or are we slowly reforming into something completely new. A lot of theory crafting, I may say.
Yeah, and of course, the games are happening concurrently as well. So definitely in the main stage, you will see certain games play out, but we'll be trying to update you guys the standings as we go throughout the rest of the day to see if your favorite teams, they do make it throughout the end of the journey as well. And I believe right now, are you a sprinter or are you a marathon runner? That kind of placement, that kind of pacing will come through here, because there's going to be 4 days of MLBB here.
Indeed. Now, I do want to address to the audience real quickly, because we might be able to see a vast difference in terms of the audience. We might have hardcore Mobile Legends Bang Bang fans, while in the meantime, we also might have the general sports audience. So for those people that are on the latter side, welcome to the stream after all. You might be kind of wondering what the esports stage is really all about, and we're going to break it down to you real quickly, where in the Land of Dawn here in Mobile Legends Bang Bang, it is essentially a 5 versus 5 format where we have 5 members from each team going up against one another in a quest to defend their crystal at the end of the map, because your objective is to go through every single one of these barriers, obstacles that come between you and your team, between you and your team with the core or slash the crystal. Destroying the crystal is ultimately going to be the main goal, and the obstacles between that are a couple of turrets that will stand in your way, and of course the opposing team.
Yeah, that's the win condition of the game, but of course there are going to be certain roles and each player will fulfill certain roles. We do have 5 different roles in the game, that's why there are 5 different players, and also at the same time resource management into your itemizations and also your creep lane management as well. But now going into Team Iran's lineup here. Now we have Amirali on the gold lane, Ali on the roam, Poria on that mid lane, Mahdi on the jungle, and we have Abu Fazl on that EXP lane.
So, as we mentioned before, for Team Iran, we don't particularly have anyway much information onto them. So it all boils down to the game itself. How are they going to be faring against Team Oman? Because Oman already had that introductory game on stream. I'll say that the audiences might have a pretty decent idea how they play. When it comes down to the draft, it is not, you know, those very beginner style of drafting, such as we see something like, you know, Mia, Layla, those kind of things.
No.
Because we can definitely expect these kind of things to happen.
Yeah, we can definitely expect these kind of things to happen, but I believe the teams here, they will have opportunities to exchange with each other as well. This is a melting pot of MLBB players, right?
Yeah.
And now looking aside from the side of Team Oman, once again for the second time on the main stage, we're going to have El Rakati on that gold lane, El Karusi on the roam, El Ghassani on that mid, El Breaki on the jungle, and El Alawi on the EXP lane.
Yep. So we've seen how they fare. We saw how they played. So coming into the game against Team Iran, they for these players, they might have a bit of idea how the opponent is gonna play, or maybe not. So moving on to the drafting stage is essentially gonna give them a pretty good idea what kind of composition, what kind of play style they want. But in the first series, it does seem as though they have a specific play style that they prefer, which is a lot more divey. However, these dive composition mostly comes into fruition only in the later stages of the game, without much thought into tempo building. How do they even get to that final end result? I think that is mostly going to be what's lacking from the side of Team Oman.
And once again, we get broken walls.
Okay.
The 50-50 has been decided, and we are going once again with broken walls.
Stop it with your 50-50, dude.
It's always a yes or no. Are we gonna get broken walls or no? And we got it.
We got it. Well, it's gonna be back again onto the broken walls. Doesn't necessarily change too much about the current meta, nor the drafting patterns as well. Maybe a small little inkling of, well, affection, or rather a small inkling of impact to a certain extent.
And so far, Team Oman, they have been, as we said, right, they want to play this team fight composition lineup. I would say they want to play that top down. They want to have that Atlas. We saw it both times in the games where they picked out the Atlas, trying to get that Fatal Links combo, especially with the Irithel, that AoE damage that does come out from the Irithel as well. But so far, they have not been able to make it work, especially against Team Saudi Arabia, because they see it coming, right? Even me, I see it coming, because the only way that you are going to initiate is that Fatal Links. They have not found that secondary combination to actually force out the initiation. Usually, you have maybe something like a Lapu Lapu, a glue, to force out these fights before the Fatal Links is used. It comes out as a countermeasure, and that's when we saw the Belleric meta, where the Belleric was used as a counter initiation meta, and the Fatal Links has to be used in that same direction as well.
So kind of like a foolproof way where instead of you jumping into the enemies, you force the opponents to come into you and just kind of force them to react, you know?
Yeah.
Force them to react or give them a very decision to make. Number one, do I want to let this Lapu Lapu just chip us off, or do we want to go and challenge against the Lapu Lapu? Do we have enough information that the opponents have a decent counter engage to come in? Do we have the resources to get ourselves out of that kind of situation, for example?
Yeah, now that we have established their playstyles, I'm not too sure about Team Iran though, right? How are they going to respond against Team Oman, right? Given the fact that you know this about Team Oman, but can you do anything about it? Because Team Saudi Arabia, they did a great job at dealing with the Black Dragon form that is the Yuzong as well. Usually we saw the EXP laner, the Black Dragon form was used to try and usher that team fight in, but then they made the great disengage coming out from Team Saudi Arabia. We just don't take the team fight. And then you force out a fatal link on one person, and then that's it.
I think we gotta have to remember that some, or if not most of this game for day number 1, the pressure is low. Low impact, and it's mostly about, we are in for Asian Games. Let's get excited, let's kind of get ourselves into the mood and have some fun. Leave the stakes for the next few days after, we kind of collected ourselves, we get ourselves a bit more of that confidence coming in, because day number 1, like we mentioned, it's all about gauging yourselves.
All right, then we already have the drafts underway. So looking like the draft coming through, we'll focus on the picks first. Marcel being picked up from the side of Team Iran, and they will be having the Baxia and also the Eve as well. Looking like the Fredrin and also the Matilda combo. This was what I was looking for to see. With the buffs on Matilda right now, that Kimmy as well, Team Oman looking like a much better draft on this half.
Okay, so kind of a little bit of a switcheroo to a certain extent. For the side of Team Iran, with the Marcel, Baxia and Yves, they do have pretty good control in large areas with the RWM as well as the Golden Hour, while Baxia is a little bit more, more onto the tempo style. So we still don't really have a very good idea what Team Iran is trying to go for as of yet. But for the side of Team Oman, we can generally say the same, but they do have a lot of a stronger foundation in the early stages of the game, having the Fredrin as well as the Matilda. With the Kimi in the middle lane, this is their roaming trio. So they do have chip damage that eventually helps them pretty equally. So they are probably just lacking on that XP laner that can give us that level of burst in order to enjoy more early game kind of damage or early game of impact.
Yeah, at the same time, I do like the Phoveus ban coming out from side of Team Oman. It seems like, they really know what they're doing, right? When you're playing against this heavy mobility coming out from the Kimmy, coming out from the Fredrin, Matilda, and also this Ruby pick, that Phoveus ban is crucial. And now for the side of Team Iran. Right now, will they want to go for that kind of glue pickup? No, they don't. They go for the Lapu into the Granger as well.
Okay, so at this point in time, this is probably one of the only moments that I'll say, okay, Oman, I think picking up the Aerithel is going to be great. But in this case, it's going to be completely different. Okay, wait, hold on a second. Wait, are we looking at a Ruby gold lane?
Yeah, it might be.
I
a
think
Ruby
so.
gold lane. Yeah,
this is a Ruby gold lane.
Yeah, because Ruby is so good in the gold lane right now. We were talking about the Ruby just being good as a general pick. And now Ruby just destroys every gold lane. I would say even the Granger is going to have a hard time, even at level 4, right? One, I'm offended. That combination comes through, that control. You gotta have the Purifier, especially on the Granger, as much as possible.
It's kind of like a blast in the past, right? We are going back to the fighter meta once again. And I did mention, of course, that from the XP laner, I do want to see someone that have got the does have the early game potential to be getting yourself a good amount of power spike. And as a Benedetta, if you do want to go for more of the assassin style with the Blade of the Heptases, that kind of stuff, it does help your team a lot more because your team is relatively tanky in the front lines. You don't have the form of burst to help the team secure kills. But with the Benedetta coming in, you've got great mobility, you've got great damage. It should be able to help the team pretty effectively.
Yeah, you should know you're a Benedetta player, but I would say, right? I would say on the contrary, you want the Benedetta to be just irritating as much as possible, right? Survive, don't go for the team fights, go for the macro plays, go for counter cross-map objectives. And now, with that being said, that revitalized option for the Benedetta, it actually seems like a great idea because you have a Fredrin that can make use of it. You have a Matilda that can make use of it. So that might be an actual battle spell that might be picked up from the side of the Benedetta here.
If we are looking at more of a sustained style of Benedetta, I would agree. But in this case, they are lacking in quite a lot of that damage department. They would require a bit more damage and a lot more stakes in order for them to secure the early stages of the game, in order to get themselves the tempo and to get themselves the lead. As such, I think that if they're going to go for Benedetta with more damage style, then picking up the Petrify might be the better case, as they shift themselves a little bit more towards the utility, allowing the Mathilda to go for flickers to enable more risky plays and to kind of yoink that Benedetta out of very risky scenarios, which pretty much means that the main focal point of this game very likely is going to be more on the Benedetta, as Benedetta kind of shifts itself and gravitates itself based on which lane requires more focus, which fight is more important. At least that is the case for Team Oman.
I would say it's a rock, paper, scissors here, right? What battle spell does the Granger go for as we head on into the land of dawn for Team Iran versus Team Oman? This is the Asia Games Esports events for Mobile Legends. Bang, bang, as we are in the qualifiers. And game number 2. This is series number 2 of Team Iran versus Team Oman.
As we jump right in, we're going to be looking at the fact that for the side of Team Iran, they're going to be starting off at the purple buff, and eventually should be able to get them in a pretty good spot, as he's going really aggressive right into the opponent's jungle, or rather taking the Little Wanderer first. So at least for now, we can definitely assume that Team Iran, they want to play things a bit more aggressively in the early stages of the game in order to get themselves some of that tempo.
Yeah, and surprisingly, it's going to be a Benedetta gold lane coming out for the side of Team Oman at this point, right? The Ruby is actually on that EXP lane versus the Lapu Lapu, and I really like this matchup of the Lapu versus the Ruby going in so far. You do have that control advantage from the side of the Lapu Lapu, having that Bravest Warrior as well, but that's going to be at level 4. But that's what I don't like coming out from side Team Oman, right? You want to place the Ruby in the gold lane. Given the fact that the damage spike right now is just so good, I don't really agree with this.
So they did a bit of a switcheroo. They do want to leave the Benedetta in the gold lane to get more gold in order to play the more offensive style, but Benedetta does have ways to actually reach the Granger to a certain extent, but it will be a game of catch-up. So once again, it is still going to be a little bit tough for the Benedetta, but still to a certain extent, more on the skill-based matchup. But the problem is Ruby is not going to have a really good time there.
Yeah, that rock, paper, scissors I was talking about, that Purify not being picked up from the side of Amirali, he's going to have a hard time in this game and very reliant on the Marcel as we head on into this first turtle fight here.
The Bravest Warrior is just going to be putting himself right onto El Breaky, breaks him down, and is unfortunately at this point in time, Team Oman, they will have got no retribution to play for against this turtle. As such, the turtle will go over to the hands of Team Iran.
Yeah, definitely the clear speed coming slightly faster for the side of Team Iran, especially on this box here at the moment, as we start to see the things ramp up for the side of Team Iran. Currently 1,500 gold advantage so far, and this is only going to get even more pronounced, right? Given the fact that they have that Benedetta on that gold lane, now they do make that swap around.
Oh. I'm not too sure whether that is too late, because we are already past the first turtle stage, where this is where Benedetta wants to be a little bit more aggressive, right? Maybe, okay, so you can kind of see it this way, where Benedetta already have got decent amount of the items, as a Benedetta is pretty greedy for items. You want to have the items, but for Lapu Lapu, you don't particularly care about winning the lane, you just want to clear the lane fast enough and get out of there. And Lapu Lapu is already at level 6.
Yeah, then the thing about the Fredrin is, right, if you are unable to get any form of early game semblance, you get shut down so easily. That's why you generally need another frontliner on the EXP lane. And that's maybe their idea of putting that Ruby there to get that bit of sustain through. But at the same time, it's just a very greedy lineup right now. Suddenly, they're just lacking all forms of damage. They're not going to be able to take the mid-game team fights. It's always going to be on that Kimmy to land the shots through. And, well, they just need to build magic defense at the start of the game.
I do want to know if whether Team Oman, whether they have enough firepower to realistically be able to do anything as this roaming trio, because you are facing up against a Baxia plus Yves and a Marcel. All three of them are very in your As you can see, Team Iran literally just bouncing right into the opponent's jungle and being quite a nuisance, as now they are putting quite a lot of effort down onto Elbreki. He doesn't have, he had lost half HP already.
Yeah, ready. Early game not going well for the side of Team Oman. Once again, Team Iran really knows how to play with the map, and this Bravest Warrior usage is putting Benedetta in a lot of trouble here.
Yep, as such, Benedetta now have already went straight in for that Lecto final blow, only to get stunned in by the Bravest Warrior and losing her own life. The entirety of Team Oman now will have got no Benedetta to play for them, and the RWM opens up from Puria, just immediately locking down the Elbreki, and this is yet another turtle fight that did not go to Oman.
Yeah, this is the case where mobility doesn't matter if you can't survive, and look at them once again. The mobility is there, but not enough to survive, right? Team Iran just brings in the control. Having the Marcel is going to be a huge issue for the side of Team Oman, and we have not talked about this enough, but Marcel being out in that pool that early, and given to the fact that given to the side of Team Iran, it's just going to be very hard to deal with. That vision game is going to be consistently up.
And not only that, you also need to consider the fact that we are already at a point where, oh wait, hold on a second, that is going to be Amon Benedetta will be able to connect on the 3. Pretty darn good from the side of Team Oman as they managed to take down Puria, which is one of the main clutch stones or cornerstones of the team fight. As such, all the Team Iran could do is just flee.
But very good disengage coming out from the side of Team Iran, right? You saw the macro gameplay going in, that usage of that golden hour just to get out in time. And on the other side of the map, Lapu Lapu gets a solo kill onto El Alawi. That Benedetta was not there, was not in time for the EXP lane, and this switch up might be going against Team Oman right now.
Both teams are going to go head-to-head with one another. They do have a way to pull the Brethren right out, but unfortunately not for El Ghassini, as it's going to go straight down as well. Team Iran is constantly just in the face of Team Oman, not quite oppressive in terms of the standing objective, but they can definitely reach there. As now we've got Ali immediately just running by and being a drive-through on the two members, takes one person down quite immediately, and they are trying to rack up as much kills as possible for Ahmed Ali.
6 minutes into the game, ready. That tier 1 turret for that mid ground
That's
is
great.
already down. Crazy map advantage coming in for the side of Team Iran. They're going to continue to push it, but they have the range, right? Rhapsody is now going to be a huge threat. Sky Piercer probably going to be picked up from the side of Amirali. At the same time, Abu Fazil, he's 301, level 11 on the Lapu Lapu, mind you. There's no one crossed the level 10 on Team Oman at this point.
It's really difficult for Oman to do anything at this point in time due to the levels, as you mentioned. So trying to fight for the turtles is definitely not quite there. As you can see, Elbreki is currently at level 8, which is actually the same as Ali. But hold on a second, we do have the golden hour just gonna be top while the Baxia just gonna be hoping himself, just gonna be in the proxy position. Manages to get a pretty good stun down on the Elbreki and followed by a kill down onto El Karusi. This is a complete shutdown over to the side of Team Oman, and they have got no controls of their own jungle.
Yeah, damage should come naturally for Team Oman at the late game, but at the early game, they need to survive, and this is the survivability that they don't have. They don't have the ability to withdraw the time. They don't have any borrowed time, as currently right now, they're doing what they can on the macro factor. El Alawi on that cross map play. That's going to be their only silver lining here, as you're down 8,000 already at 8 minutes into the game.
At this point in time, what a Benedetta would want to do is just to play for cross-map plays and being able to proxy as much as possible. The more turrets down for tier 1, the better it is. However, the only tier 1 turret that's down is at the bottom lane, so there still need a lot more time from Team Oman to be able to open up these maps to allow the Benedetta to go a little bit more crazy. But looking at that fact, I don't think that Al Alawi have got a lot of items to back himself up to be more damaging. As a matter of fact, I'm not too sure what items that he has.
Yeah, damage is going to be tough.
Oh, only the Blade of Heptases. So only the Blade of Heptases is actually going to be really difficult to deal with because the Lapu Lapu is so far ahead. But we take a look at this fight. This is going to be Elbreki that is not able to survive. While of course the Bravest Warrior lands onto 2, allowing Abu Fazil to just go absolutely ham and crazy, allowing Amirali to pick up a mania for himself. Do remember that this guy has got Sky Piercer.
6-0-0. This guy, no assists so far, able to secure all the kills for himself, and Team Iran they are running away with this game for sure here, right? Barring a huge mistake coming out from the side of Team Iran. If you take a look at the team fight, that real manipulation, just using time, Bravest Warrior into the back, Team Amirali untouched, even flickers forward to get that Maniac.
Yep. So at that point in time, they are just so far ahead that the flicker is used aggressively in order to get himself a lot more of that snowball control over to the side of Team Oman, leading them to a 10,000 goal lead by 9 minutes and 45 seconds, which is a crazy amount once again.
Yeah, fast forward pickup coming in, the photo coming through, but we will have that tri-lane push being set up from the side of Team Iran. Barring that, they will have that mid lane as well, but it's not going to be coming in at the same time. They got to deal with the tier 2 turret at the bottom lane at first, and they choose to forsake that.
Unfortunately for the side of Team Oman, they don't have a composition that is too great when it comes down to wave clear and wave control. So when it comes down to clearing up these waves, they will take a lot longer of time. And despite the fact that this is only the first Lord, they very likely will lose the T3. As now the members coming from the side of Team Iran is just going to be putting themselves right in the face of Team Oman. And RWM into the golden hour, locked 2-person out of the fight, leaving El Rakadi to just put himself right in the front of the battles. He will lose his life on top of all of that, but that will open up a very good avenue for the rest of the members from Team Oman to push the rest of Team Iran away, or rather Team Iran away. But there is still gonna be another point in time where they can just jump in onto the T3 turret in the middle lane and effectively even the bottom.
Yeah, Team Iran right now, they had 3 members on a sliver of HP, and Team Oman could do nothing about it. They were just flaccid as they could only watch because they don't have a marksman. They had a Kimmy, yes, but Kimmy does not have that range. 11 minutes in the game, 14,000 gold behind.
It's a very tough spot from Team Oman to get out of. In fact, losing all 3 of the T3 turret at this stage of the game, and the fact that this lineup does not allow them a proper wave clear, it kind of puts them on a really difficult spot. And in fact, I think that they're just surrounded by walls where they couldn't get out of it.
Yeah, they did have the game plan coming through for the side of Team Oman, but it might just be falling apart right now as Team Iran are going for it.
The golden hour is just going to be popping onto 2. They're just going to be doing everything that they can onto Currency and brings him down pretty effectively. All 5 members from the side of Iran will do what they can as they have a Maniac and of course even a Savage collected by Amirali as the head from the side of Oman rolls.
And there we go, the first Savage of the Asian Games Esports events, Mobile Legends Bang Bang qualifiers from the side of Team Iran. Coming out from the Granger, man, that is Amirali, that he picks up the Savage. Maniac then Savage, wow.
Yep. Literally, we've got Amirali that conducted a symphony of death, doing what he can to play all the way from the start to the end. The moment that he picked up the Sky Piercer, he realized, you know, this is my time. With the Benedetta completely out of the game, with only a Blade of the Heptases, there really is no threat going to the side of the Granger at all.
Yeah, there was no threat indeed. You saw the systematic control that Team Iran had over the side of Team Oman, right? At the start of the game, yes, their game plan should have been to put that Ruby in that gold lane to get that kind of a bit of a lead towards that Granger, right?
Yep.
Threaten the Granger a bit. And that's something that the Benedetta couldn't do. That level 1, level 2, you're not going to have the range. There's not going to have that control available. And I was looking forward to see whether or not they put that Ruby in the gold lane. Didn't happen. Switch came in too late, and it was just too far gone.
Indeed. You want to have the early game advantage as a Ruby who have pretty innate healing factor coming in from her passive. We do have a little bit of a change from the passive though, but it's still good enough because Ruby is still still pretty tanky in the early games, and you still have healing factor built into your own kit, while for Benedetta you don't. You are more of a poke and run kind of style. You're trying to exchange pokes between a Granger. Whoever can poke more, poke better, will win in that matchup. Versus a Granger that can poke versus a Ruby that can, well, poke and heal, we naturally know where it's going to gravitate towards.
Yeah, but the crux of the problem, right? The main problem has still been the Marcel. Letting the Marcel in through that ban pick stage has been the bane of a lot of these teams. Even in the international stages, even in other MPLs, right? Marcel used to be such a heavy threat. Now he's worse of a threat. He's got better. He's got faster. His golden hour is now good for even more because he can target people now.
This is kind of crazy and kind of annoying to deal with at this point. But, you know, we're going to have to move on to the MVP, the Savage holder. We got from Iran, Ami Raleigh. Great team, great player. And just like that, 13 is to 0-0. Like we mentioned, zero threats towards the Granger at all.
Yeah, so far, what a stellar showing from the Iranian sniper, Amirali, pulling out the Maniac and the Savage as well. Of course,
1,000 GPM, by the way.
1,000 GPM, yeah, 1,000 GPM. We were that close in kill participation, man. 1% less or 1% more, it would have been a memeable moment. But man, oh man, Amirali, you did such a great job on the Granger, but the team setup coming through on the Marshall was so good. Ali, Poria, I would say, real manipulation into that bravest warrior.
Yep.
That timing, man, that was just impeccable.
Yep, at this point in time, like for Team Oman, the moment that they kind of caught into any of these ultimates, be it the Golden Hour or the RWM, the first thing that they gotta think of is to get a quick runaway. And the moment they try to run away, they're just gonna be locked in, unable to do anything, and that is just free real estate for the side of Team Iran, where they can just pour whatever that they have in terms of damage control and literally any form of impact that they can push Oman further away.
Yeah, because the clear speed coming out from the side of Kimmy and also the Matilda in terms of that mid lane versus the Eve into the Marcel, right? It's going to be a wash, but at the same time, the rotations weren't coming through on time. And we saw the early game where they put Rakati on that EXP lane, and that was just all sorts of trouble coming out from the side of Team Oman. Switch came out a little bit too late, but looking at the damage dealt, it's just going to be all Team Iran at this point, because at that point, there is no sustain coming out from the side of Team Oman. They did not have the farm to work with. They couldn't even survive these team fights.
In fact, I think that Team Oman did kind of shuffle their players a little bit, if I am not wrong. They might have shuffled themselves in terms of their roles because they wanted to play dynamically, right? Maybe some of these players, they are not very sure how to play a very specific hero in their own lane. Like for example, we wanted Ruby in the gold lane. However, the gold laner might not be very good in Ruby. So what happens is that they do an internal swap. The player that plays XP lane will go over to the gold lane instead. So that is what we saw in the previous time, and shuffling will be required.
Yeah.
So maybe because of that, the team chemistry and the way that they play got changed dynamically.
Yeah, I would say still, right? Still in terms of meta, still in terms of what you want to place, they need to know where the matchups are going to go, right?
Yep.
Why do you pick the Ruby? They have to know their win conditions very clear from the start. And, well, the game starts at minute 0. So sadly for Team Oman, the game didn't feel like it started from minute 0. They only felt like they were playing from minute 2 onwards,
Yep.
and that's just 2 minutes of lost time where Team Iran was just, well.
Yeah, that's the point where you could have gotten the lead. So hopefully Team Oman, they will learn a little bit from this experience and learn a bit more about how the matchup would look like in order to get themselves that kind of advantage or that kind of lead. Because in the early stages of the game, you want to take as much lead as possible to make things a lot easier for you to transition over to from the laning phase to the early game to the mid game to the late game.
Yeah, the sad thing is that I really love the Fredrin and the Matilda combo. It's
do
so
too.
old school, it's so good.
Plus the Benedetta as well.
It works so well,
man.
right? On paper, it works so well. Benedetta and then Ruby as well. They use the guiding wind extremely well. If you think about it, on paper, very good in terms of mobility. But mobility at a cost of survivability. That it was the problem for Team Oman, because they could move, but they couldn't survive. Marcel moves faster.
Yeah, so it is ultimately gonna set up into a very chaotic team fight. If you can set things up, you need to be able to control the key team fight. And we just all said and done, we are gonna go off and take a look at what game number 2 is gonna be like after this very short break. So make sure you guys don't go anywhere too far though, because game number 2 between Team Iran versus Team Oman will come back to you guys very, very quickly. And of course, this is the 2026 Asian Games Qualifiers. You guys are watching the MLBB version. We've got more for you guys. Don't go anywhere too far. We'll be right back with you.
Even something so crude can be graced with a splatter of beauty.